Hello, one and all. It's my view of My Hero Academia, chapter 325, The Bonds of One for All. And I've got to say, last chapter, when they introduced Mudkip Man, as the internet seems to have dubbed him, I thought, oh, this is a cool Easter egg, cool reference to the very first chapter of the series when he appeared, standing right next to Deku, asking if he wanted to be a hero. I certainly was not expecting him to be the voice of the crowd, the voice of the people, and so elegantly and perfectly explain, basically what it is they're feeling, what it is they're going through, so utterly perfectly and eloquently. I mean, for a little while I was theorizing, oh, he must have been, a former hero, or he's some sort of scholar on heroes, or something like that, but no. His opinion, his voice, his logic is so perfect because he was a spectator, just like everyone else. He watched the heroes dancing on stage, performing for him, and thought nothing of it. And this is really, really obvious. If you go back to the very first chapter of the series, the first episode of the series, you see all the people, they're watching Bako suffering, screaming, being consumed by a sludge villain, and they're all smiling, they're all laughing, like, oh, the heroes will deal with it. Oh, the heroes will deal with it. Oh, look, there's that cool hero. Oh, cheer, All Might's nearby. All Might's nearby. No way. They were literally spectators watching a play, watching a TV show play out in front of them. And now that stage is gone. Now there's no divide between heroes and civilians. There's no way for heroes to obtain glory and riches anymore. So the heroes who are left behind, the heroes who are still fighting, they are the true heroes. They are the best of the best. They are the ones who we should, put our faith in. They're the ones we should trust. And they're the ones we should help. They're the ones we should back up. They're the ones we should support. They're the ones, we should try and do everything in our power to make sure succeed and save the day. We can't be spectators anymore, and just, oh, I love it. I freaking love it. Seriously, I've said for so long, for so very, very long, the main problem in Hero Society was that heroes were almost too revered, viewed as almost sort of separate species whose problems and issues were far, far away from those of the common man. And, we don't really have to worry about them. We don't have to worry about looking after the heroes, protecting the heroes, saving the heroes, being nice to heroes, because, they're freaking heroes. They can handle it. They'll be fine. And now they're realizing, okay, wait a minute, maybe we actually need to be nice to our saviors. Yeah, that might actually make some sense. And, oh God, I just love how this is demonstrated this chapter. And first off, we have Koda, who comes up and says, I am here, which, oh, I love it. I freaking love it. That is just such an utterly perfectly delivered line right there. I mean, I almost feel like the I am here thing should have been, played out by this point, but it keeps hitting perfectly. It's a scared little kid just saying it, I'm here for you, Deku. I'm here to support you. You don't have to cry anymore. I'll back you up however I can because I want to be a hero just like you. That was so adorable. I freaking loved it. And then after that, we have all the people basically lending their umbrellas to the heroes, which is oh my God, the most utterly perfect metaphor I could ever imagine to demonstrate the old man's point. Them needing to, not be specters anymore. Them needing to help the heroes as best they can in however little way they can. This is it, They're keeping the heroes getting rained on, which might seem like a really, really small thing to do, but these small things, they add up so quickly, and if they just keep doing these small, little, nice things to the heroes, we'll eventually reach a day where heroes have time to kill, the day where Hawk's dreams come true. Huzzah! Though I am a little bothered by this one part of the chapter where Umbrella Guy basically says, if we let you rest here, we'll be able to get our old lives back, right? And Deku's like, oh yeah, of course. With everyone else here backing me up, there's no way I'll fail. I'll definitely get your old lives back. And no, Deku, no, bad Deku. We don't want their old lives back. We want new lives. We want better lives. We want lives where people are, good and decent to one another. Where heroes don't have to bear the burden by themselves. Where, there's actual kindness and decency, and where the government isn't secretly manipulating, controlling, and assassinating anyone that goes against their philosophy. So, yeah, Deku, I like your spirit. I like that you're, finally realizing you need your friends' help and that together you'll be able to save the day, but you will not get their old lives back. You need to do better. You need to improve things. I mean, wasn't that the entire point of Lady Nagant? The old Hero Society was broken, so utterly broken, and really, really needs to be fixed. And just for another, demonstration that Hero Society is so utterly broken, is Umbrella Girl, because, we still don't actually have her name yet, but she explains that several shelters kicked her out, turned her away, because she's a heteromorph, basically a mutant-type quirk user, someone whose body was altered by their quirks, they look differently from an average person, and there's just such racism and discrimination. Wait, racism? No, not racism. I guess she couldn't be really classified as another race, another species, maybe? Let's just say discrimination. There's so much discrimination in this world against heteromorphs, against mutant-type quirk holders, that, even now, in a time of need, even now, when everyone is so afraid and so terrified and in such desperate need for help, they're still turning away people who just look differently, even when they're just a scared little girl like her, or a scared, really, really big girl. But still, oh God, really, let's also focus on, dealing with discrimination, no more government assassins, stuff like that, Deku. Seriously, New Hero Society must be a better place, a kinder place, a nicer place for love of all that is good and holy in this world. And then Hawks and Endeavor are allowed to come into UA, which I definitely find interesting. They'd stay outside because, the crowd really, really wouldn't have liked them being there all that much. It would have made it, much, much harder to convince them to allow Deku to come in because Endeavor and Hawks aren't really well liked right now. Endeavor is, oh God. Yeah, I don't really know if Endeavor's ever gonna regain his old reputation at all. Seriously, even back then his reputation was, known to be feared and despised. And Hawks, I've said this before in my last video, but Hawks killed someone with a super, super dangerous quirk, and that definitely upset a lot of people, but I think now that, really realize how dangerous villains truly can be, now that, it's basically anarchy and chaos, there's going to be a lot more people who are in favor of the death penalty instead of just locking people up in basements for decades at a time until they can break out and cause a whole bunch of chaos and anarchy and death and all that fun stuff. Huzzah! And I just really do love what Hawk says here about One For All being a network of power that links people's hearts. It linked All Might to Deku. It linked Deku to Class 1A. It linked Class 1A to its crowd. And, this is it. This is the one small step the principals said they needed to improve humanity, to take that step forward, to become better people. And Hawk says, if all of us are even a little bit capable of seeing each other as united as one, then I see a future where heroes have time to kill, one so bright we can't help but grin. This is the Hawks. We're going to get your dream. We're going to get your dream of a perfect hero society, or at least a less awful hero society. Yay! I also just love the shot. I know I mentioned it before, but, Deku's mother's holding his hand, and Kaminari just having to hit Bako for giving Guy a stink eye. Oh, I love it. I freaking love it. Also, I'm just now realizing Kota and Mineta are the same height, which, I really don't want to see those two in the same room ever. Mineta would be a very, very bad influence on Kota, just saying. And then we get a very interesting Shoto and Endeavor moment because, Endeavor said before that he and Shoto would need to work together to take down Dabi to stop him, but, then Endeavor went off with Deku on his own to go deal with League of Villains and didn't bring Shoto along with him, so, yeah, that's troubling. It's very, very troubling, especially because Endeavor can't actually beat Dabi, at all. Dabi's firepower is actually stronger than Endeavor's. Yes, he's burning himself at the same time, but it doesn't really seem to bother him all that much, so in actual fight, Dabi would probably beat Endeavor. Meanwhile, Shoto actually has his ice powers, which would probably be, a bit more effective, though it also can't be forgotten that Dabi inherited his mother's, ice skin, ice resistance, so he'd actually be pretty good at taking Shoto's ice hits as well, so maybe Shoto would actually need to, find a way to make his fire so hot that it actually surpasses even Dabi, surpasses even his father's. That would make a certain amount of sense, maybe? I'm not sure about that. Though, I do really need to point out that, when Endeavor says yes, he, turns his head, covers his eyes with his hat, almost feels like he's trying to lie here, like he's trying to say, no, Shoto, I'm going to say yes, but really, I know that deep down my heart, I need to be the one that deals with Dabi. I need to be the one that stops him somehow, some way. I'm not sure about that. I'm really not sure what to take of that. I also found out something rather interesting about Dabi the other day. Apparently his name in Japanese means cremation, which, oh, that is so utterly, utterly dark and so utterly perfect for him. I love it. I freaking love it. Anyway, then we flash over to Aizawa, who seems rather happy, rather satisfied with how his class managed to bring Deku back and managed to assuage the crowd's fears and angers and, just pure fear and hatred. Oh, also, apparently he now has a robotic leg, which, hey, I called it last chapter. Neat! I am curious if he's going to get some sort of robot eye as well, something that allows him to still use his quirk despite having lost that eye. I'm not sure about that. As things stand right now, he's in kind of a bad situation. He has dry eyes, which, is just such an issue for him, such a downside for him, but his ability to cancel out people's quirk still makes him incredibly, incredibly broken, though he's lost, whole range of visions, so he can only see so much around him at one time, and that definitely means, he's going to be a bit weaker in actual battle. So I can definitely see this robotic leg somehow managing to make up for that, somehow allowing him to move faster, to have, beeps and bops in it that allow it to do other things he couldn't do when he had a regular normal human leg. I'm not sure about that. Definitely seems more than just a leg though, so very, very curious about that. We also find out he's been visiting Kurogiri every day, and he hasn't actually managed to break through to him yet, but apparently now they're shipping Nomu to the central hospital, with the intention being to try and use them to figure out a way to undo the brainwashing, undo the control being put on top of him, which, oh, I so want to see that. I so badly want to see that. For one thing, that would allow Kurogiri to open up portals, which Aizawa could then look through and cancel out the quirk of people who are miles and miles away. Oh, that'd be fun. That'd be so, so fun. Plus, let's not forget that Korgiri was more or less created for the sake of being a babysitter for Shigaraki, for keeping Shigaraki in line. So I would absolutely love to see what happens, what Shigaraki's response is when he finds that the Korgiri has become, human again. He's more or less betrayed him. That'd be interesting. That'd be very, very interesting. And then we end on a rather ominous note, as it always says that there's a strategy in place to keep Toga out, as anyone who comes into the shelter needs to be quarantined for long enough where Toga's quirk would have stopped working and she would have turned back into her old female self, which is interesting. Very, very interesting, because the next shot is of All Might, and on one hand, it looks like he might be leaving the shelter, like he's walking away from the shelter, feeling like he doesn't belong here, feeling like he doesn't fit, like feeling like he needs to go out and die so that Deku can be freed of, all the pain he's put him through, something like that. But on the other hand, it's also entirely possible that this is in fact not All Might, and is instead Toga. I mean, that would make a lot of sense. Deku basically left All Might all by himself. And we know best Genius Hawk's endeavor, All Might's 3 bodyguards aren't really near him right now, so it's entirely possible that after Deku left him, he was attacked by a League of Villains, attacked by Toga, had his blood stolen, and Toga's now planning on using that blood to infiltrate UA. I mean, yes, they said there's an isolation plan, but would they really try and isolate freaking All Might? I mean, would they really be that skeptical of even freaking All Might, the symbol of peace, having been replaced with a body double? I mean, it didn't seem like anyone in Class 1A, Endeavor, or Hawks had to go through some sort of isolation period, so it's very likely that if Toga is disguised as All Might, she could infiltrate UA without anyone being the wiser, and manage to tear down the wall, destroy the thing that's keeping people out, doing something, I don't know exactly what, that caused enough chaos and anarchy where the League of Villains could actually land an attack, actually assault UA. I mean, hopefully her plan isn't to do that for quite a while right now, because, I mean, let's not forget, Deku has just finally gotten here. He needs at least a week's worth of rest, recovery, a nice, warm, home-cooked meal. Seriously, let's give Deku a solid week to recover, to get strength back, and then Toga can do whatever awful thing she has planned, infiltrating UA, destroying the defenses, allowing the League of Villains to infiltrate as well. Yeah, that's very, very likely right now. Though it's also possible that All Might just doesn't feel like he can go into UA after, all this is kind of his fault because he put so much weight on his own shoulders, because he tried to be the perfect symbol of peace, because he tried to take on all Japan's pains and crimes by himself. He just made society so very, very much worse. Curious, very, very curious about that. Oh yeah, and there's also Stain. We haven't seen Stain in a while, but last time we saw Deku leave All Might, Stain was close by, so it's possible that All Might was attacked by League of Villains at some point, and then Stain rushed in and saved the day. Stain came in and saved him. I mean, I would absolutely freaking love if that was the case. And right now, All Might's recovering. Stain bandaged his wounds and is looking after him, and together they're gonna have to go to UA and find a way to tell everyone that Toga managed to infiltrate already, and that she could be anyone, anywhere right now. Oh, that'd be fun. That'd be so much fun, so much chaos, and I'd freaking love to see it. I also just really, really want to see Ida reunite with Stain. I mean, at the very least, I think Stain recognized Ida has become a true hero now and not want to kill him, so that'd be something at least. I mean, most of the heroes who are still heroes at this point should be considered true heroes because they have gone through so very, very much awfulness to reach this point, and like Mudkip Man said, there's no honor or riches to be had in being a hero anymore. They're just doing it because they want to protect the people. But please let me tell us down below, is that All Might or is that Toga? What's going to be waiting for Deku in UA? What's going to happen when Aries sees him? I so want to see Aries slap Deku for running away on his own like that. Oh, that'd be so absolutely adorable. And then she'd hug him, and then I'd cry, and then we'd all cry. Huzzah! What do you think of Aizawa's new robotic foot? Do you think he's getting any other robotic implements? And do you think he's going to find a way to break through to Korgiri and to team up with him? I mean, like I said, if he can find a way to use his quirk through Korgiri's portals, that opens up so very, very many possibilities for what he's capable of doing. I would so love to freaking see that. But let me know all down below. Be sure to like, subscribe to the next video. And until then, peace!